So kind of moving forward, how did you get out of there then? Like,
Mhm.
I think, the learning, I love failure because from failure, you kind of, the way that you rise above it is what's really more aimable, like, which is like how you kind of get over that instead of just kind of shout at yourself and like, I will never invest in real estate again. Because a lot of people did that, in 2008. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I had done it enough and had decided to, at that point, get out of the East Coast. It wasn't for me. I had realized that before, and the relationship that had brought me there had ended. So I decided, all right, let's just go back to the Pacific Northwest where I knew that I wanted to create my home.
Mm,
And my best friend that brought me to real estate essentially
mm,
asked me at that point if I would like to join up with him and
mm,
create a company out there. And during the time, I should note, I was really interested in like what was going on with the internet. So I had started a couple of blogs, and I was writing, doing SEO type stuff, and
mm,
interested in the marketing. And like I said, I had
mm,
some interesting marketing tactics as well for real estate. So he wasn't really into that interest in that side of it. So he said, why don't you come out here? We'll team up. You can do all the marketing and technology for us. And I
mm,
will, he had been a real estate appraiser for his whole life, essentially, like since
mhm,
high school. So he had a lot of knowledge and could value properties really well. And
mhm.
so we teamed up and we did wholesaling. We did some fix and flips. We did some co-wholesaling. We did that for several years at that point. And it was cool, but again, looking back, you always have these hindsight's 2020. Looking back, we did too much to focus on making money and not investing the money. So we were always about
It's
the
like
next deal, the next
it's
deal, the
like
next deal.
transactional, kind of get into the habit of a transaction. I actually noticed that with fix and flip and wholesale a lot because the interaction itself is very transactional. It's
Yeah.
about the volumes and etc. But the people who kind of make a difference is when they set a higher goal and they actually move these money into holding as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what we should have done for sure.
mm,
We didn't do that as much. We were just always focused on the next deal and hustling. Like that's what we were. Our motto was like, let's hustle, and we hustle
yeah.
and hustle and hustle, and we make a bunch of money. And we went through the trap of like doing marketing, hustling really hard, making a bunch of money. And when we were doing that, we stopped marketing and
Mm,
because we were focusing on the transactions. And then we realized, shoot, we don't have any more deals to do. Let's do more marketing,
right.
instead
Yeah.
of just focusing on it. We like our whole team would take its vision and be like, all right, we're focusing on this. And
Mm,
then we're focusing on this rather than all of us doing something, that was beneficial all the time.
yeah. Yeah, because it's again time and energy is like a constant resource. Because once you kind of draw it, that's probably why you guys stopped doing because it's like, oh, we made a whole bunch of money, we can kind of relax a little bit. But it's an active income, so it doesn't just keep on coming.
Totally.
Yeah. So from there, like you had more transition. Tell us a little bit more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that for a few years, and then Eric, my best friend, actually got hired on by the fortune builders, and they said, "Hey,
Mm,
you guys are doing great. We'd like to hire you on and bring you down into our company, and you could teach it." So he was really passionate about teaching and wanted to push himself more, so he did that.
mm,
And at that point, that's when I was floundering a little bit, and started up the Seattle Investors Club with Julie, and so we grew that into doing more fix and flips and more wholesales, and then from there I had started a relationship with Emily, my fiance now, and we, I had learned a lot about myself at this point, and I'd learned a lot about relationships because of failure.
mm.
I'd had a lot of failed relationships and failed businesses and lots of failure, but that's all right. A lot of, had
That's how
lots
you
of,
learn.
yeah,
Hey.
dropped a
Yeah.
lot of weights on my chest when I was working out, but it's all right. And that makes me better now. So I had decided, or at that point, that I really wanted to set goals in all parts of my life, whether it be for business, Julie and I had goals set, whether it be for relationships. So Emily and I been dating for long enough that we decided that this was going to last, and we decided to set up some goals. And
Mm,
our initial goal was, hey, we like the outdoors. We'd love to go. National parks are great. We'd been to a couple of them at that point. We're like, hey, why don't we try and set a big goal of going to all the national parks?
mhm,
And that led down to, okay, well, we both have these kind of independent working situations.
mhm,
She works for a pet insurance company called True Panion, which is out of Seattle area.
Mhm.
And we thought, what if we tried to go mobile and completely do business on the road,
Mm.
buy a vehicle, and go to all the parks at one time? And we'll just
Right.
do that for a year or so. And
Yeah.
we'll try and do it all in a year.
Yeah.
So I talked with Julie and we figured out how to do that. And I was actually at the start, we were doing in-person meetings once a month. So I would fly back. That was the solution, to fly back once a month to,
Mhm.
have FaceTime there, but did all the marketing and everything from the road, which is the site that I focused on, the website, the technology marketing, all
Mm.
that stuff. And then, that actually led to us building out this Sprinter van. And I should step back slightly. It took 3 years of saying, this is our goal,
Yeah.
to we have the vehicle and let's launch.
Yeah.
And we figure out, how to work from the road and how to get all that done
Yeah.
and push off. So 3 years. And a lot of people that come to me and like, oh, I want this lifestyle. I tell them that and they're like, oh, so you didn't just go buy it and do it? Like,
Yeah.
no, I planned it out. We decided what vehicle we wanted. We had to talk with people about how we're going to get connection, where we're going to get, are we going to need cafes? Are we going to use internet hotspots? Are we going to have satellites on our van? Whatever we were going to do.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of planning, and that's okay because it's so awesome now
Right.
that who cares how much planning it takes.
Right.
So yeah, we left out in a Sprinter van in order to go to all of the national parks, which are about 62 now or something like that. And it was
Oh,
59 when we started,
yeah.
and work from the road. And we got through year one and decided there's no way we can do this in 1 year. And this is fantastic to live this way.
Yeah.
So we've been, until COVID hit, we've been about 2 years on the road. Now we're kind of like slowed down just because campgrounds closed on us and they're
Mm.
starting to open back up. But yeah, so we've been working, living, working out, playing wherever our van is on the road, using internet hotspots, cafes, Whole Foods,
Mm.
and that actually stemmed my current focus of business right now, which is the Get Better Project, my online at-home workout
Mm.
program, which was proven by us not having a gym. And we have 4 dumbbells, 2 for me, 2 for Emily, and each have a kettlebell and a jump rope. So like
Nice.
all of our stuff could fit, in a small little space, and we
Right.
could be incredibly fit. So
Yeah.
we proved it. And then we started, writing program for people. And then we launched the business.
Mm.
And now we do like video coaching, and we do like all of this health and fitness and nutrition from what we've done ourselves. So the motto is, we do it, it works, and you can just come along with us and we coach you along the whole way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that, in some sense, I'm guessing, are you doing like recorded videos as well, like a membership? Is that kind of how you do it?
Yeah, so the website is a membership base. People pay monthly or weekly, and I have actually a couple of coaches that work for me at this point, and learn from that,
Nice.
doing it all myself. So I focus on all the stuff that I love to do, and then try and hand off as much of it as I don't love to do. And I've
Mm.
set up that particular business in a way that it is. Although I look like right now, somebody looked at it in the face of it, I have a plan for every single stage of if I
Mm.
want to step out of it,
Mm.
how it just keeps on rolling.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more detail into like that system that you kind of build. Like how obviously it's from all these learnings in the past, like one or the other, you kind of piece that together and kind of build a system now that you can potentially step away and become really truly like a passive income source. So tell us a little bit more about like how your setup works and who your first employees are. Yeah.
Sure. I would think that it would all stem back to those failures. And I have this blog called All Around Joe, which I have 250 podcasts on it. I've got like
Wow.
thousands of blog posts. It makes money. It's a
Mm.
affiliate marketing machine.
Mm.
So that's another income source that I've built up over the years. I've had it for like 10 years, let's say 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
And what I learned from that, though, is that it was branded as me. I am All Around Joe.
Yeah.
Not a good idea, I don't think, unless you want to be this public figure that always has to do it. Now I can have guest
Mm.
posts and things like that, and that's fine. But I learned from that when I created the Get Better project, in that I don't need to be the head of it. And that was the very start and the vision that I was thinking of, and that I think the people who want to step out of their businesses need to think about is, what is the vision and what does it stand for, the company, like,
Mm,
so the Get Better project stands for creating awesome humans. And it
mm,
doesn't mean that I'm creating them. It could mean other people. And over my life, I've met a lot of awesome humans
mm,
that are trying to do similar things as I am, which is to create a healthier, more fit population / world.
mm,
And these awesome humans, I could tell you right now who my first 5 employees are going to be, or actually more, just based off the people that I've met over my life, and that I want to create lifestyles like mine for them, because
mm,
a lot of people don't have the same kind of vision as you or I do, and that, like, we want to have independence and all of this stuff. They didn't ever get that bred into them. I believe for me, it was the
mm.
homeschooling probably, and my mom telling me I could do whatever I wanted to. So I
Right.
never felt comfortable having a boss or having
Mm,
somebody tell me what to do.
right.
It just always felt really weird. I've never held a job for longer than a year, I don't think, because I
Mm,
just couldn't take it anymore.
right.
So I set up this vision after failing with, past companies without having a vision, without being the head of it. And then I decided to set up the systems. And I think a lot about systems, like systems from the point of, all right, here's my funnel, and how am I going to fill this funnel up with potential leads? And
Mm,
those leads, how are we going to nurture them? And then who's going to be talking with them if they have questions? And then how are we going to take them through the sales process? And then at that point, how are we going to nurture them and give them like a groundbreaking experience? So they're like, man, my product is $40 a month. So they're going to be like, holy smokes, $40 a month. I never want to stop paying $40 a month, because
mm.
I get so much from this.
Right.
Like, it is just
It's like a
like,
less than a gym membership, right? So it's the
oh
pricing.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
for
Yeah.
sure. And then I have people like, I have a good friend that I worked with in the gym industry, that I brought on, that I brought in as the first person, that is just fantastic. He's just an awesome person. I shared the vision with him that I have for the employees. Like, my vision for the employees is for them to have lifestyle independence in search, in place of them having to go to a 9-to-5 job, right?
Mm,
I'm teaching them what I've learned
yeah.
so that they don't have to. So they can come in and they can work, not to have time attached to their money,
Yeah.
and they can get their work done whenever they want to. But their goal is to create an exceptional experience with what they are working on, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so those people are coming in, and I have it set up so that I can step out of making the videos. I can step out of, publishing the videos. I can step out of writing the program. I can step out of managing the questions. I can step out of pretty much anything that is hands-on, and everything else is pretty much a system, meaning like mechanical, like, the website, right? It
Mm,
functions automatically. People sign up without me having to do anything.
right.
That's connected with via Zapier with the membership site. And there's automated emails and things like that are all written. So there's
Mm,
a bunch of front end work that has to go into that, but it's completely set up where that if I needed to, I could go to Rory right now, my first employee, and be like, hey, Rory, here you go, take over.
mm. Yeah, because the system kind of, so there's even just limited human interaction. The technology kind of takes us more of the brunt. But then even people, you have that system in place because it's not just Joe like doing push-ups, doing all these videos, but there's other people who's making the videos too, because they
Yeah,
can contribute on
absolutely.
content. Yeah, that's smart. Because I think, that is oftentimes you kind of get into coaching programs and etc. Like I love that you said, hey, all around Joe is not a good idea because Joe has to work on it all around the clock, right?
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah,
But then if you can somehow think about how do you bring other affiliate, like they're going to be throughputs a lot more. And also you're not creating a brand about yourself, because I often see even Tony Robbins included himself will be like flying all over the countries to do these seminars, right?
yeah,
And I think he enjoyed doing that, but it's still Tony Robbins doing all that stuff. Granted, he has a lot of people who works for him, so like he just need to show up. And so his system is he just need to show up on the stage and then make the big impact to a lot of people, and then the one-on-one coachings, then etc. Like he has a teams to kind of do them.
yeah.
That is somewhat limited too. Um, So in terms of the system, so it's not built up in one day, obviously. How long did it take you, like building that whole system up? Um,
It's still a process. I mean, but the point of where I'm at right now, we've been running the Get Better project for a year and a half, and I would say the first year was just a lot of learning and how the systems were going to work. And it's helpful that I have other income sources, right? So like I've got the Seattle Investors Club, and I've got the All Around Joe that bring income in, as
mhm,
I wasn't relying upon the Get Better project to bring income in from the start, you know. And
mhm,
it's also helpful to have a dual income household, you know. So
mhm,
there's money, there's systems for money coming in, whether or not the Get Better project fails or is successful.
right.
It's gotten to the point though where it seems like the momentum is picking up and it's going to be very successful, and we've had, you know, tons of great testimonials and
Mhm,
all this positiveness. But it was like, it starts off like with the vision, and I learned a lot about systems and a lot about running, you know, putting things together, technology wise, you know, from email campaigns
mhm,
to membership sites. I just learned that over the years. So you don't have to know how to do that. You can hire a VA to do it. You just have to have the vision, right? Like, how is,
mhm,
you know, this going to work? How am I going to get customers? You know, and another fun thing is like, uh, we've built this totally organic from this point. So like, haven't spent any money on it really, other than just like paying for software.
mhm,
And I just hired a company to run ads for us. So
mhm.
where, you know, you get to the certain point where you build up a certain amount of money, and I haven't contributed any personal money to it, which is pretty fun.
That's nice. Yeah.
So the business just funded itself, and then now built up enough income in the bank that I hired a company to run ads, and we've got an ad spend each month, and then that will hopefully build upon itself, and we'll, you know, expand
Mhm.
from there, hire uh, more employees, and maybe
Yeah.
go down that road.
I think keeping a startup cost very lean is very kind of helpful.
Mhm.
So when you're running this deal, it's amazing that you said you were able to kind of do break even. So walk us back, like when you first launched your program, the internet. Of course, you already learned, you have like these 10 years of marketing skills from like all
Mhm.
the other aspect of things. So so when you started that one project, how do you even like kind of make it profitable within the first couple months, right?
Yes, that's a great question. So what I did to start is I wanted to, I had this vision that was forming itself of what the Get Better project was, and it was, you know, a daily workout program, people that could do workouts at their home or office or with very minimal equipment. That was the very start of
Mm,
it. And I knew that I wanted to call it the Get Better Project because I'd been playing with that name for a while. So it started by buying the URL, making sure that I had all of the assets to use that name and have it be branded the way that I wanted to, and then
mm,
hiring somebody for $30 to build out a logo. And then going from that point, I actually started on a Facebook group. So it was, other than the website hosting, you know, I had just that free Facebook group, and I delivered videos and workouts every single day on there. So I would write
mm.
out the workouts, and then I would film videos for each of the workouts, and then I would go into Facebook and load them up for a month, because you can do
Mhm.
the scheduled the posts.
Yeah.
So I would go through there, and then so I had the workouts and all the content coming in. Then I started asking people if they want to be part of a free beta program. So I told
Mhm.
them what it was, just launched it to my Facebook friends. Say, hey, I'm looking for, I think it was 20 people at the start,
Mhm.
maybe 20 or 30 people. Looking for 20 or 30 people that want to gain experience based off of my 20 plus years in the fitness industry for free, and test out my at-home workout program.
Mhm.
And I got like 40 responses. So I had to actually start telling people no. I don't remember if it was 20 or 30 that
Yeah.
I actually took in, but I brought those people in,
Mhm.
and then I asked them questions, and it was really terrible. Well, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it was really unorganized at the start, and that
Yeah.
was fine. But I asked a lot of questions. The hardest thing for me is being humble in the industry when I'm an expert, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So
Mhm.
I can call myself a fitness expert. I have tons of certifications. I've coached thousands of people, all this stuff. I know how to get pretty much anybody that's willing to into fantastic, you know, health and fitness.
Mhm.
Um, but if you come in the program, you're a beta tester, you're like, Joe, this really sucks because I want this, this, and this. It's hard for me to hear that. And I have to, that's something that I work on constantly, is being humble and being like, thank you for that input. I'm not going to react. I'm just going to listen. and
Yeah.
then I'm going to step back, and then maybe tomorrow I will look at it again, and I'll come back to you and be like, ask more questions. Does that make
Mm.
sense? Because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
if somebody comes to you and your expertise and says, you need to do this and this and this different, you're like, all right, I need to not respond, and
Right.
maybe there's some gold in there.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while, and the Facebook platform really didn't work very well for delivering workouts. And then that moved into looking for other solutions in order to deliver workouts better, and also build out my email campaigns, build out, how I was taking money, and how I was, setting up memberships to
Mm.
automatically take money. And there's all these processes, but that's how it started. It started with the beta group. And then from the beta group, I learned from the beta group
Mm.
for about a month. So I think I had about a month of giving out free stuff, and then
Yeah.
started charging and asking the beta group for people that wanted to come in. So the beta group gave me testimonials, as well as they gave me referrals. So the
Hmm.
referrals from the beta group were the first paying customers,
Nice. Okay.
and then that
Got it.
started making money, and then just slowly building. And then also my best source of organic leads is through social media. So
Mm.
I've built up a decent social media over the years, which I realize that some people don't have, but it doesn't take that long to get a few thousand or a few
Yeah.
hundred followers on like an Instagram and Facebook.
So just like a to you, Joe itself, versus like creating a group to kind of create that. So Joe still has to work then, I guess, going back to
Yeah,
so
at the
Joe's still
start for
doing
sure.
marketing. Got it. But now like that is now outsourced. It could
I
be
still
outsourced. Like,
do. I do. It could be outsourced. Absolutely. I enjoy doing it. So it's one of the things that will get outsourced later on.
uh-huh.
Like the things that I really enjoy doing, I love writing programs for people.
Mm.
So like I love the intricacy of like saying, all right, this is what you need to do in order to get this result. And then the next day, this is what you need to do. And then the next day, this is what you need to do. And then
Mm.
looking back at last week and last month and seeing what you did and how I'm going to build upon that in order to continue getting you results.
Mm.
And I also love, the idea of working with people in the marketing. So there's certain things that are listing that I enjoy doing, but there are like
Mm.
certain things that I don't enjoy doing are like the customer service things. And I've already have Rory taking those over from me. So I have a certain number of people that I work
Mm.
with personally in coaching, in the coaching customer service aspect, but he takes everybody from now on. So I have like,
Gotcha.
I forget how many I have on my own, but he is taking them from now moving forward. And I have a system for like the next thing that's going to happen is that some of the videos. So I do three videos of myself for 3 different workouts per day. So or for 5 days a week. So 15 videos a week. Um, and it's getting to the point now where I just want to do one per day. And I enjoy that, but 3 of them just too many per day. Does that make sense? So
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
It
going to
is.
start
Yeah.
taking those over, and I get to focus on the creative stuff that really
Mm.
brings me energy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, customer service, sometimes it can get really personal. How did you actually start to like, or any system in that matter? Like, what would you say the process of coming up um, ways to kind of systemize it? So, like the
Hmm.
thought process, just kind of, because any system can kind of be systemized per se, but it's like, how do you actually come up with a generic rule? Like, what is your kind of generic steps to come up with the system?
Yeah, so just through trial and error and like what I feel like would be the ultimate for myself. So there's a lot of just sitting around and writing and like what the vision is and like what kind of feeling I want people to have from working with me and with the Get Better project in general. And that led into a lot of touches. So I try and get people interacting constantly, and that leads to giving them things to do constantly. So like we have daily challenges every single day that like, at this point Rory did the last one, so he's came up with a daily challenge and then did a video and like posted daily on the Facebook page for people to do these things. And then from there, uh we also do a weekly coaching check-in. So what a weekly coaching check-in means is I have a form that I created. So I created it one time, and it still gets built upon and improved. But every Sunday morning, there's a form that automatically goes out to all of the members, and the members just fill out the form, and it says like, all right, how would you have rated, your week of workouts? How's your nutrition going? How is your stress level? How's your sleep going? So we're measuring all of these things that come in on a Google form and then go into a spreadsheet. And then we actually coach the people on all of those areas of their life. And that's probably been, so that's the customer service thing that turned into a system that all we have to do is coach after the people give us that information,
Mm-hmm.
which again, that's the part that I'm starting to step myself out of, because I have really good people like Rory that are just fantastic humans, super smart. And I feel like I've built up this list of people that I can put into these places as the business grows. But it's a system that had started with that, and it stemmed from what's the experience that I want to have and that I feel like I want people to take away from when
And
they
then what,
interact with us.
yeah, so it's like what the customer journey is, and then what are the stuff that you have to put in, and then the second step is like who can actually do it other than me.
Yeah.
Is that, that's very insightful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Joe. Well, this is really good, session over here. I definitely wanted to kind of invite you back to talk about like your van life as well, and then what you actually are doing with the van. That's the other aspect of, because we did have a lot of member that was like very interested in kind of getting into traveling in vans and etc. But for sure they can kind of check out you at the Fantastic Life website, and that gives them, I'm guessing, based on that, the fact that you're so system driven, you probably have all the good stuff out laid out for them, like this is what you do, like step number one, do this and that, because I'm actually thinking about taking along like a kind of van trip. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've gone through from like how we planned the van itself, like, and what we wanted the capabilities of the van to do, and then also how we go about our work days and work weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a strategy for all of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because, for example, if we're doing a podcast together and we need video to work, it might take 3 different coffee shops for us to figure out which one has the fastest internet. And we have a system for that and how we're going to get it done. And also batching. So like there's so much things that we could go into as far as like how the van life works, from,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the van to the work systems to the play systems, even like how we designed
Mm-hmm.
our life so that we can get the most out of the areas that we're living in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, awesome, Joe. Like this is a really good session. I really enjoyed talking with you. Definitely would have to invite you back to talk about the van, like the whole system around the van. But I think in general, like to me, you're just like a marketing execution genius. Because all the things that you just said over there, they all have ties back into your marketing skill and the things that you have learned from like, the failure that you had or the success that you had was what was successful through the whole kind of pipeline, which is very hard to replace. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
thank you very much. And yeah,
and
a
then
lot of
what
failure.
what is kind of moving forward then for you? Like what is the goal kind of in the next couple years for you?
Yeah, so it all revolves around continuing to do this slow build, if you will. So I think that I've decided that I'm okay with, enjoying life, because life is good, right? Like at
Mm-hmm.
least right now for us, life is fantastic, and I'm okay with doing that slow build. And even hiring somebody to throw a bunch of money into Facebook advertising is like, all right, I'm going to have to figure out how to move quickly
Mm-hmm.
into bringing people onto the team and how those payment systems are going to work. So in the next couple of years, our goal is to get to uh, first goal 500 members at the Get Better Project, and then like we have set goals, so 500, 1,000, and then 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
So in the next 2 years, I would like to get to about 500 members. That would make me super happy. Maybe it will blow up and do more than that, but 500 members in the Get Better Project, and then also continue this traveling, because we have decided that this is so much fun
Mm-hmm.
that we're not looking at stopping for
Mm-hmm.
the foreseeable future. In fact, we figured out where we want to live, and we're looking at buying a 40-acre piece of property right now in Eastern Washington that we
Yeah.
will have our compound on, but we're not planning on actually building it out, because we want to continue doing what we're doing. And
That's
it's
awesome.
just so much fun to live in the van.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for your time today, and then we for sure we'll have you back again. Right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.